Good evening, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
You should see me in a crown. That's all the words I know of that song. But welcome to our spoiler instant reaction. Somewhat instant because computers are kicking my tail. Episode 5 of Agatha All Along spoiler discussion. And this one was called...
I told you what it was called.
But I don't remember what it's called.
Oh my gosh.
It's episode 5. Okay. I would like to discuss... I'd like to start the discussion with the costume design in this show is off the chain. Because each new house they go to has had a different era, a different style, a different whatever. And this one was the 80s, and it was Agatha's trial. And they played with the Ouija board. So the set design of whatever, they just ran down the street and borrowed everything from Stranger Things. It's hard not to see something 80s nostalgic-y on the TV with spooky stuff involved and not think of Stranger Things now.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's not... It's not a plight. It's not a plight. It's not a dig at anybody. It's just that's how it is with us, with the lexicon of pop culture now.
Yeah.
And I'm totally cool with it. Even with the music, had a kind of a little bit of a hint of that synthy Stranger Things.
Well, 80s music.
Yeah. Totally. This episode was very short.
Okay.
It was less than 30 minutes with by the time we got done with the credits and everything else. Despite the big reveal, dun dun dun, which we are going to get to, do you think it was enough? Or do you think it was too truncated?
No, I think it's fine. I didn't notice that it was shorter than the other ones, so.
Okay. I was listening to a discussion today about Star Wars, and they were asking for more episodes and longer content because they're just like me. They want they want more and more and more of it, and they were discussing the old model of 22 episodes once a week. It came out once, every year, once a year, and that kind of model. And this has been coming out once a week, except for episodes 1 and 2 came out together.
Right.
And this has been coming out week to week, and it's 9 episodes.
Yep.
8 weeks total.
Yep.
And we don't know if we're going to get a season 2. But sometimes people complain. I won't say complain. They're selfishly wanting more when it's really good. And this one was 30 minutes, and they wanted more. They're going, I want more, even though it was an awesome episode.
Yeah. No, I mean, I grew up in the 70s where TV shows were a half an hour and then commercials, so your content was like 18, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So there were no commercials. So this was 30 minutes of a show. I thought it was fine.
Okay. That was the biggest things. Thanks for coming along. There's nothing else to discuss. Like and follow. Be nice in the comments. All right, let's get into it. Episode starts with the Salem 7. Actually, let's start with the previously on, and they showed Agatha from WandaVision killing her coven and her mother, and then the episode starts with the Salem 7 coming to the Witch's Road because they left the gate open.
Yes. So they're there now. And they have the whole broom exchange thing, talking about it's been kind of corporatized and associated with female, like, you're the housekeeper, the cleaner, whatever.
Yeah.
So, which, I mean, honestly is how that came about. But, because brooms, why would you fly a broom? Why not a ladder or a chair?
A wheelbarrow.
A wheelbarrow. Why a broom? So, it totally has to do with women cleaning.
It was I was watching somebody else talk about She-Hulk and how She-Hulk didn't pull any punches about pointing out the how bad guys men are with women and stuff like that.
Which is why people didn't like it.
Which is why a lot of people didn't like it. We loved it. We laughed every episode. But just this like running commentary that specifically Lilia has. Because she's the oldest one. She's been through most of it, and she's just like has no filter at this point in time.
Yeah.
So she keeps like whenever something happens, and she's the one always bitching about how witches have been betrayed in pop culture and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it's always funny that Patti LuPone is the one who's doing that, who's kind of been, she's known for her stage stuff and singing for years, but she's also kind of been through that. I can't get a job because I'm an older woman and like stuff. So like it's nice that she's the running commentary for all of that.
Yep. I want to bring up she did not, that I heard, say anything random this episode.
Yeah. I didn't notice.
I was kind of trying to pay attention. There was a lot, so but I did not notice her saying anything random this episode.
And I after we discussed it, and other people have been kind of putting, it's not 1 and 2 and 3 together to get 4. It's like 1 and 8 and Z, and like trying to figure out what she's actually trying to get to. Mm-hmm. I am interested about if somebody picked out Alice. She yelled at Alice at one point in time in a previous episode. If it's matches, because we haven't gone back to do that kind of research at this point in time. But I wonder, because of what happens with Alice, if there was this kind of...
Did she say watch out or something?
Out, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I only bring it up because that kind of popped into my head.
Yeah.
They ride the brooms. The road brings them back. They run into the house.
They had an E.T. moment.
They're new rock stars. Their Nerd Riot site with all of their merch has had that as a shirt, as like a tarot card, and I'm like, that's the one I kind of want, and now I really want it with the red moon in the background. It's so cool, as everything that is practical with this show, to be able to do something like that still with all of them on the brooms and having all that fun, and them all giggling was just nice. Until the road run them down, they ran into the house, and now we're in the 80s.
Right, because the 7 chased them into the house.
All of them are dressed as 80s horror at camp teenage sleepover, except for Lilia, who is dressed up as the 80s mom. Yeah.
She's got like the kind of like a Chinese, I'm sure there's a name for it, but the silk kind of
kimono. That's all right.
Silk, like almost pajama-y kind of 2-piece thing, and the short like Brady mom hair.
Yeah. I was really appreciating that they all had like, okay, this is the sleepover episode that we've seen in the trailers, and then Lilia's the mom who's like
because she's far removed from sleepovers.
Oh, right. I actually wish they kind of would have done her up as a teenager, kind of like teenager clothes, kind of like 80s teenager clothes. Come to find out, they have to do the Ouija board. Yep. And Teen goes over and picks up the Ouija board.
Never a good idea.
Never, ever play Ouija board. Have you watched an 80s horror film ever?
And Teen says, we have to Ouija. And Agatha's like, it's not a verb.
It's not a verb.
It isn't? Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
And what's the plural of Ouija?
Ouija.
Like Lego?
No, I actually know that for
a really?
fact. Yeah, it's Ouija. Yeah. Don't ask me how I know that.
Him reading the rules too about not taking your hands off the board and
and then Lily is like, what does it say on the back? Appropriate for ages 3 and up or something like that.
Her turning and looking
3-year-old doing a Ouija board. No.
It's her turning and look at the coven like, oh, I guess we're okay. We talked about this last week, too, about you kind of have to watch the episode twice because you have to watch all the stuff that's going on in the background. Because Rio, multiple times in this episode, Aubrey had, like, a face on, or she pulled her dagger
Yeah,
out, or
she
like
had her dagger out a lot.
yeah,
This
yeah.
episode.
There was lots of stuff going on. They set up the Ouija board. They go through it once.
Agatha pretends to be possessed by Mrs. Hart,
And she does the what's the thing?
planchette.
What is it?
Planchette.
Planchette. There you go. The planchette. She does it as Mrs. Hart instead of Shannon.
Yeah.
And then some of the best acting it's been in this entire show was Catherine Hahn channeling,
Right. Impersonating.
So good, because it's believable for a minute, and then
Yeah, I had to take a minute to be like, are they like superimposing her voice, or is she? And then as she went along, I was like, oh no, that's actually Catherine Hahn.
yeah,
Intimidating. Intimidating? No.
impersonating.
Intimidating.
That's one of my kind of moves. I'm putting the wrong word in. I like that they called her on a bull.
Yeah.
The rest of the coven's like, okay, it was really believable, but no.
Yeah.
And Agatha was like, well, I thought it was pretty good actually,
Yeah.
which
It was.
which is a meta joke. They've been very meta jokey at times in the show, but that was definitely one of those meta jokes. Like, okay, it was pretty good. We decided to throw it in, whatever. So they do the Ouija board for Riri this time, and Death is the one that is there. Right. Now, this is a very interesting conversation to have Death be the one who contacts them. A lot of people have been saying that Rio Duvall, Aubrey Plaza. Jesus, why did I freeze up on that? Is playing Death because they've been talking about her black heart and everything that's been going on. So it was very interesting that it was Death that made the contact. Then things kind of go crazy. Like every time you play with a Ouija board, weird things happen. And Agatha pulls off and she tumbles back. And she becomes possessed.
Yeah, because one of the rules was don't remove your hands from the planchette or you'll invite in or allow in a spirit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
And the lights go out. All the rest of the coven circles. They find lights, and they all circle facing out. Because they actually have seen 80s horror films. They didn't separate and go have sex in some random room or whatever. They all circle back to back. Teen gets stripped on, looks up, and Agatha is possessed by something, and now she looks zombified. That's not the right term, but she looks, pale skinned. You could see.
She's Regan from
Exorcist?
Exorcist.
I'm like, Good Omens. No, that's the other one. And she
Omen, not Good Omens.
The Omen. And she does the full Exorcist, thing. When they did the Ouija board before Agatha broke off, they asked the Ouija board what they wanted, and the Ouija board said punish Agatha.
Yeah.
So when Agatha's doing the whole exorcist thing, Jennifer Kale, Jen, takes a retainer out and is all like ready to like beat Agatha.
Yeah, we need to punish her. That's what they said, and it's her trial, so let's punish her.
Yeah, and the rest of everyone kind of starts slowly going along with that. And they start talking about tying her up, and Agatha is kind of pleading her case, like, please don't. And I felt at that point in time that what they were trying to do was have the coven accept her for who she is, and that's how you get through the trial.
Okay.
Is that her friends are the ones who take her with them. And they kind of play with that idea because Agatha was possessed by her mom, and that her mom was played by Kate Forbes in the WandaVision show, and she came back to play the ghost in this one. And now her mom tells the rest of the coven that you're free to go, just leave Agatha here.
Yep.
Which makes the coven break into a heavy discussion. I'm just trying to find the right words. A heavy discussion about leaving her or going.
Or staying.
Or taking her with them.
Yeah.
And they have there's a strife. Teen wants to to save her. Team's trying to do it. Jen's like, I'm done with you. We're out.
Yeah.
And everybody else is kind of in between. And in that kind of exchange, again, I felt like the point was to have them accept Agatha for who she is and her faults. We spent all this time in the last episode around the campfire telling campfire stories and how we get all these, like there was a bonding moment in the previous episode. So that's what this trial was. Well, come to find out, Mom goes to attack somebody and Alice steps up and all of a sudden her power is back and she's...
No, so her mom's telling Agatha how she should have killed her as soon as she was born.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a horrible, evil child. And that's when Alice stepped up and was like, and she, like, Mom basically possessed her again or whatever. And so she stepped up and I don't know what she thought she was going to do, but orange lights came out of her hands instead of the purple like Agatha's would be.
Yeah, it was like the protection spell. Like she's the protecting witch. So she was trying to protect Agatha from the ghost. And the ghost gets exhumed from Agatha. And now Agatha's there and she instantly does what Agatha does when she goes against someone with witching powers. She absorbs the other witch's power.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have a bit of a theory, and we'll see if it's true or not, that because she genuinely, to me, seemed like she wasn't doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there is some, I don't know, curse, spell, whatever, on Agatha that this is what happens when somebody throws power at her, she absorbs it. And maybe that's an effect of the Darkhold, but she doesn't have the Darkhold anymore.
So there's something else. Or someone else who...
It feels like there's something else that, and maybe it, like it happened, like her mom did it to her, or, her coven did it to her back before she killed them.
Mephisto. I mean, it could be a million different things.
And that it's happening, like Agatha is not this evil person. She's misunderstood. She's, it's happening to her, not her doing it.
Yeah. She's the product of something that is causing her to do it.
Yeah.
Because her reaction, because she ends up sucking all of the magic out of Alice and ends up killing Alice, like sucking her dry, essentially.
Yeah.
And her reaction is like guilt-ridden.
Yeah, she's really upset about it.
She's really upset about it. And even though, and then Teen, the board is going nuts, and Teen goes over and asks who's on the board, and it's Nicholas Scratch, and a child's voice says, "Mom, please stop." And Agatha stops, and then Alice is already gone. It's too late. And then they say goodbye, and the ladder comes out. And so Agatha goes out first with this guilt-ridden look on her face, like she didn't mean to do it. And the rest of the coven, Teen tries to like save Alice. Jen and Lilia to say there's nothing to do. Rio's standing there with like kind of a more surprised look on her face than an actual like anything else. It's not like prideful or sad or anything.
Yeah, I mean, she was kind of watching Agatha go, like, because she heard the whole exchange between her mom, Ghost, and her, and she looked like she she wasn't surprised at what her mom was saying. The
Yeah.
others were.
Yeah.
Like, like they were surprised that she could say that about her own child. And Rio didn't seem surprised. So it's almost like Agatha, because obviously they've had a relationship at some point in the past. So it's almost like Agatha had told her that that's how her mother felt.
Yeah.
She didn't really feel bad about her mom dying or her killing her. I don't remember which one happened, but because she was so
She
cruel.
she killed her like she killed Alice when the rest of the coven was trying to burn her at the stake. She absorbed all of the power.
Oh, right, and her mom was standing there.
which is
Yeah,
what the
No, I just couldn't
previously
remember
was.
if her mom was standing there when she did that, but yeah,
Yeah.
she was. So, yeah,
Teen takes that moment of like trying. He's been the moral compass for everybody the entire way through, and I bring it up that way because once they get back on the road, Agatha's still dealing with it, and
she's like, I didn't mean to, and he's like, I'm done with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see that the purple light, whatever,
starts to flicker in his
hands. Yeah,
And Lilia walks by and says, "Death comes for us all." Jennifer Kale is definitely upset with the whole situation, but they have to continue on. They're on this path. There's nothing they can do about it. Rio is nowhere to be seen.
Nope, she's gone.
So Lilia and Jen go off, and Teen does the whole like, "How could you?" She says, "I didn't mean to." They have an exchange back and forth, and he says, "Is this how did he word it? Is this all you do is bring death?" Or something along that line. And she changes her face, her persona from guilt to witchy witch.
Yeah, witchy.
And a big grin on her face. She steps right up into his ear and says, "Maybe this is who I've been the entire time," or something along that line.
He said something like, "This isn't what I wanted." And she like stepped up to him and put her fingers under his chin, and she was like, "Are you sure about that?"
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Yeah."
And she said, there was a long pause. They're so close to each other. Just kiss.
No, that's you.
But she smiles, like a knowing smile, and she goes, "So much like your mother," and turns around and walks off. Sparkly fingers happen, and all of a sudden, he picks her up with magic and throws her off the road Lilia and Jin come back and grab her with purple in their eyes and throw her off. And they stand there and watch her sink.
Yep.
And then the camera goes back to Teen, and he's now full purple hand shield things and picks the two of them up and throws them into the mud. And then it's on his close up of his face, just like from his eyebrows down to his chin. And then the camera pans back, and he's wearing the Scarlet Witch
You should see me in a crown.
and fade to black with Billie Eilish playing. Okay, so the theory has been that Teen is Wiccan.
Yep.
Who is Billy?
The prevalent. There have been a couple theories, but that's the prevalent one.
That's been the most, made the most sense of what they've been doing.
Yep.
So, this for me is confirmation. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more storytelling. We have 4 more episodes of this still to go. So, there's going to be a reason why it's Wiccan and not a manifestation of somebody else.
Right.
It's not Nicholas Scratch. They kind of squelched that the last episode.
Yep.
Now, Billy Kaplan, Billy and Tommy were made from pieces of Mephisto.
Right.
In the comic. Now, in WandaVision, they were manifestations of Wanda's grief.
Right. But in other universes, they are her actual
kids.
Blood children.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in what angle they are going to try to go with this about what his origin story is and why it's connected to Agatha and how it's connected to Wanda. Because that's going to be a big part of what's going to happen for the rest of the season is his origin story and how he came into existence. Is he a remnant of the Hex?
Right.
Because his magic abilities in the comic, now I'm not sitting here saying that this is for sure what they're going to do because
Right.
they take and pick and pull in, but his abilities in the comics is chaos magic, reality warping, flight, telekinesis kind of stuff, like he can spark. That was the purple spark thing. He can make a force field. He's Violet from Incredibles. He can teleport and he has healing. So he's super powerful. Super powerful.
Yeah.
He's Scarlet Witch powerful kind of thing.
Well, I mean, he's her son, Mephisto's son.
Right,
Who
right,
knows?
right.
But
So I bring all of that up because we have been speculating here that this show is a mechanism to bring Wanda back to be the nuclear weapon for Secret Wars. Now, Wanda was. Everybody sits here and tells us that what if doesn't mean anything.
yes, it does.
It totally means something. She was the nuclear weapon in the zombie episode.
Yep.
Now, I bring that up because everybody's all like, it doesn't matter, it's just some fun or whatever. And they introduced the idea of incursions in the first season of What If, which is a major storytelling point in Multiverse of Madness. So it feels like we have been discussing that this show is about bringing Wanda back, and they're using Agatha as that thing. Now, with all of that being said, if an essence of Wiccan, of Billy, has been left over from the Hex, and he was one of the teen is the actual body, and was one of the two who died in the car crash going from Eastview to Westview that I keep bringing up because it was way too subtle of a hint to not be bringing it up on a regular basis. And Wicked found a way to warp reality where he can control this body, and that's why he hasn't been able to tell everybody else who he is. I love it. I love this. I love this mystery. One of the reasons we loved WandaVision so much was each week we're going, I have no idea what's going on. Like, and
I know what's going on, but I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's the same showrunners, it's the same music people.
Yep.
It's the same, like, it's set.
There's a story, like a little compact, compartmentalized story. Story of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a longer story. They're on the road, right? But each episode, like WandaVision, has its own little theme in the house that they go into. It's got a little bit bigger theme as to kind of Agatha and the Seven, and why she brought all these people together and why she is who she is. And then there's the even bigger story of
The MCU.
the MCU,
Yeah.
and what this all means and where it's all going.
I just one of the discussions we had about Acolyte was they explained that it was a murder mystery, and they explained some of the mysteries very early on to kind of misdirect you for what the big mystery was at the end.
Right.
And this one is kind of doing much of the similar storytelling points, but maybe hitting them a little bit harder, because we've all been wondering who is Joe Locke playing.
Yeah.
Like, it's really random. This is his second freaking IMDb credit.
Yeah. But this is the halfway point. We still have 4 episodes.
Right.
So it feels a little early for that reveal. There's going to be a bigger reveal at the, if it follows the same kind of storytelling or whatever that WandaVision did, right? About this section is where we started to understand that there's a whole nother world going on outside of Westview, and that what all that is. So, but then the last episode was the big Agatha Wanda fight, and up in the sky and all of that. So we still, if they're going to follow kind of the same storytelling, we've still got a big finale.
So one of the things that Disney Plus has done with their Marvel and Star Wars episodes is episode 5 is their big episode. Now, when Game of Thrones happened, it was always the penultimate episode was like their big oh my god thing, and then you had the finale that kind of wrapped everything up and they set everything up for the next season.
Yep.
But with the Disney Plus stuff so far, episode 5 has been the big reveal, the big curtain reveal. I'm just going to keep reusing reveal. I also bring this up because somebody else, I think it might have been Eric from New Rockstars. I'm going to give him credit and then leave it up to like I could change my mind later. That in the post-credit scene, in the credits as they roll,
it was Eric. Yeah.
Was it Eric?
Yeah.
So as the credits as they roll, there's this montage of different things going on in the background, and they're doing like the director and the sound design and blah blah blah, and they're putting everybody's name on, and then they get towards the end, and they do a picture.
They're in the actors,
and each actor has their own shot,
background,
and
wallpaper.
And Agatha, Catherine Hahn is the Wicked Witch of the West, and like it goes all the way down. Okay, so Eric pointed out from New Rockstars that there are 2 empty slots in that section. Not like we have a couple of empty cards at the end just because we want to put some extra stuff up and roll the credits a little bit longer. There's like 3 names, an empty slot, 2 names, an empty slot, a name, and then the Agatha long credit.
Yep.
So the one of them is like a weed, like crabgrass kind of looking weed flower kind of thing. That's the second one. But the first one is Westview with the pentagon drawn out on Westview. And we brought that up in our first review, that was a very interesting thing to add because all the other ones kind of correlate with the actor and their character.
Yeah, and they're very like witch centric.
Yeah.
So you know that things that are associated with witches or pop culture witches or
yeah. So the first thing we said after we kind of got over the whole Wiccan thing is when we watched the credits again to confirm what we have been seeing, and the empty slot for Westview is very intriguing.
Yep. Could it be Wanda?
It feels like Wanda.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense outside of that.
Yep.
We're all projecting because we want Elizabeth Olsen and we want Scarlet Witch and we want Wanda and we want her to have a solo film where she's not the big bad. This is what we want because she's one of our favorite characters in all of the MCU. I don't think I'm stretching there for either one of us. That like her character arc is so good. Just being a parent and a mom and like all that stuff. So it feels like that's the most viable discussion. However, if it's someone else, is it a disappointment?
No.
Because I've been thinking about this. If Wanda doesn't show up in the show and it's something else that they've been putting out and we've been projecting the entire time.
No, I'm having fun with the show the way it is. And
okay.
If Elizabeth Olsen doesn't show up, I'm going to be okay with it. Because I'm having fun with the show.
I also find it very interesting, this is just an industry thing, that Elizabeth doesn't have anything out right now.
Yeah.
So she's not on the tour, the news tour, getting questioned every 5 minutes. Hey, are you and Agatha? Hey, you got to do something else for Wanda?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So this would be a really cool way of hiding her. If that happens. Now, I'm projecting I want her to show up, but I'm okay with the story that they're telling if they want to introduce some other character, Mephisto, blah, 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 blah. We can go down the list of all the magic users. The weed is Wong. It's the Wongiverse, so just...
Right. We can't have a show or a movie without Wong showing up.
I am more pissed off if Wong doesn't show up than Wanda.
He's gonna sling ring
That's going to be the
himself
opening at the end of the road. And Wong's going to be standing there like, it took you long enough, let's go.
Perfect.
I've written the show. Let's go. So let us know what you thought of our discussion and our wild speculation of Wong in the comments down below. Please be nice. That is a requirement. If you're on the Spotify side, please follow us there. If you're on the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications and the subscribe button. We're updating stuff all the time. Follow us on all the social media stuff. All the links are in the description down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's free. It means nothing to you. It means the world to us. And we're trying to get free tickets to C2E2. So let us know what you thought of all of this. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.